Howdy, welcome to another episode of Fish Keeping Jamaica. Today I'll be sharing with you an experience in which I have, in which I don't know if anyone else have actually experienced this. Now, a few weeks ago I was making some adjustments in my aquarium. When making these adjustments, I accidentally touched on the hose which actually brings the air to my tank, right? It was something looking like this, right? So what happened is that the pump itself actually fell in the water. Now I was unaware of that, and I was like continuing to do what I'm doing, and then I felt a burst of electricity as I touched the water. Just ran through my body and realized that the entire pump was actually submerged into the tank. So I quickly took it out, and my first thing was to check to see if the fish was okay, in which they were. Then after which I actually pulled up the pump. After pulling up the pump, I realized something, that the entire motor here was actually done, or should I say it doesn't work anymore. Right, everything right here was flooded with water, so therefore there was no vibration to give off so as to produce the air which goes through here. I'm going to pull up this in a bit to show you what I'm speaking about. Now, as a result of that, I lost a very good pump, 20 GPH air pump, right? So I had a old pump that was lying around the house somewhere. Now the old pump had this part working, but the other section was not working, right? So the interior section of the pump works. Now, as I said before, this section was flooded with water because it actually fell within the tank itself. Now, as a result of that, no matter how I took something and I dried it off, and it was there for like a couple days, 2 days, 3 days. I dried it off, I shake out the water. It just wouldn't work, right? There was no vibration. Only thing that actually happened is that whenever I touched up here, it actually shocked me. So I had this pump lying around the house somewhere, because this section just was as if it was worn out, right? So what I did, I took this section, right, which is not here right now, right? I took this section from here and I placed it on this pump, which the motor was actually considerably good, right? The emphasis of this video is to share with you the fact that three things, right? One, that the placing of your air pump on the top of the aquarium is advised, because it prevents what they call back siphoning. I will do a video on that shortly, right? Where the hose is higher than the actual container wherein which the air is actually being pumped, there's less risk of the water being back siphoned into the pump, which actually would damage the system, just as how it did this one, right? So what happened is that when actually mounting or installing your air pump, always ensure that the air pump is placed at a point where it is secure, meaning that it is firmly placed and it is not easily I call it now shaken or out of place, right? Because once it actually fall into the water, and that's it. Okay, the second thing, whenever buying an air pump or purchasing an air pump, you need two questions. One is whether or not the pump that you are purchasing have fittings in which you could purchase should in case the pump actually worn out over time. What are these fittings? Now a pump like this in the pet shop or at my garden store would cost probably about $1,300, right? No, $1,300 to $1,500, right? Now, let's say that it's discovered that the air that is coming through here have actually drastically been reduced as a result of the wearing of this section, right? Point to note that this section is actually sold by itself as a kit. So therefore, point 2, what you need to take away is that you need to question whether or not a kit is sold separate and apart from the pump, should in case anything happens to the pump, which is more likely that this section be worn, that you can actually remove the old section, which is this vibrates, right? This thing vibrates. When it is plugged in, electricity goes through the coil. Electricity goes through the coil, and this magnet, right, is like it's attracted to the coil. Now here you have a piece of metal, right? They are a fraction of a centimeter, or should I say fraction of a millimeter apart, and the static that is created as a result of electrical current going through this coil, right, along with the magnet, produce what you call vibration, and the vibration produce air, which is actually pumped from here through this little compartment out into the aquarium, right? So this section is important. This works even if it works well, right? If this section is worn, you won't get any air. So therefore, whenever this section gets worn, you now will have to purchase a kit, or decide whether or not you're gonna throw it away and purchase another one. Now, a kit it depends on the size of pump that you have, right? Now, if you are purchasing an air pump, you need to find out whether or not there's an available kit. 2, you need to find out whether or not the kit is available at the store in which you are purchasing the farm. It makes no sense that you purchase an air pump, meaning that you are serious about fish keeping, and the likelihood of it being damaged, like, exists, right? Thus, you might end up require to change the kit here, right? And to change it is a simple process. I don't have any right now to demonstrate to you. The emphasis of this video is just to point out to the fact that air pumps do go bad, and the simple arrangement of it within the casings allow you to actually make the necessary corrections should in case you need to change a kit, right? But the instructions are there, right? So after a couple of weeks, coming back to my story now, after a couple of hours, what I did, I sat and I realized that I could use this section. I found out, I will just call it the kit section, right? I found that the kit section, which is here, could actually be snuggled into this section. And thus I decided to remove it from here, placed it here where the power, the coil is good, right? And this section is just out of whack. So I took away the one that was here, I put in that one there, and it works really good. A point to note is that, remember, you are actually engaging your air pump for the lifetime, for its lifetime, right? It's always plugged in, right? So things can happen, right? If an air pump goes bad, don't throw it away just yet. Put it aside, because you might just need to go back and use sections of it, right? The coil can burn, meaning that it can burn as a result of shortage, or it can burn because it's just overheated, right? And the kit section, which is here, right, which actually generate the air, it can go bad also because this section is rubber. So after a while, the rubber got worn, really get worn. so therefore the air being produced won't be sufficient to supply the tank as it needs. So this video emphasizes the fact that it's good when you have your gadgets, or shall I say your equipment, and you know about them. The next thing that you should know is that whenever you're purchasing equipment for your fish pond or tanks, it would serve you best if you practice to use the same equipment throughout your hobby. So if I was using, let's say I was using a different type of filtration system, I wouldn't be able to transfer the rubber from here to here, right? I would have to go out now and spend between $1,300 to $1,500 to get another one. Meanwhile, I would have to actually remove the fish from that tank and place them somewhere else while I actually source a source of oxygenating the water, right? So three things to take away from this video. One, whenever you're mounting your air pump, you should mount it in a way that it won't fall into the water, and mount it in a way that it is actually kept over the water. Never put your air pump below the height of the water in which you are actually oxygenating. And two, do not practice the habit of just disposing of equipment as they quote unquote cease to exist, right? You may just need it in the future. And three, practice to use the same equipment or equipment of the same brand, in that you can use parts of these equipment so as to fix, or should I say repair, equipment that has gone bad. And also another point, bonus point, is that your equipment should be kept as best as possible. All electrical equipment should be kept as best as possible in a position that will prevent the fish from being shot. My fish just got lucky, it wasn't shot to death, electrocuted to death, right? But fish can get electrocuted to death, right? So therefore it would be safe to have the air pump being placed on a rack or on a shelf just above. As I end, a point to note as I end this video is that air pumps are generally made for indoor use. However, outside use can be a positive, yes, but you must be careful as to how you use it outside, because unlike the external water pump, which is not that well, it can manage the ruggedness of being outdoors, the air pump will actually be damaged should in case a storm or rainfall or condition that is not suitable which involve water, right? So keep it covered, keep it protected, and also keep it aerated, as too much heat will eventually lead to the destruction of the coil that is within the air pump. Thank you very much again for making the fish keep in Jamaica right here. Bye bye.